Oh shit. Whoa. Everybody wants to build a unicorn. Not every company can be a f***ing unicorn. Oh, this one is gonna hit bad. I can feel it. I need to walk with it. I'm so dreading to sit back here now. This one was brutal.
We have with us today Palav Nadani, who sold his first two startups for nearly $50 million and is an investor and mentor today to hundreds. And you're watching this sweet spot.
So, Palav, welcome to the show. Are you ready to get started?
I am excited and scared at the same time.
Sure. Just to make you feel a little less scared, I'll walk you through the rules of the show.
Okay.
So, we start off with the least spicy sauce and move your way up till the most spicy one.
That goes like
Yes.
this.
Yeah, from the left to the right.
Okay.
And then again back to the left and then the right.
Okay.
Anywhere where you feel the spice has gotten to you, you can say the magic words, hit me with the sweet spot, for
Okay.
which you'll get your favorite dessert.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So thank you so much for being here. Just to get started, you do call yourself an accidental entrepreneur. So how did that beautiful accident happen? Walk us through the journey.
Sure. So I was in class 11, I think, in Calcutta, in La
Okay.
Martiniere for boys. And at that point in time, there were two things which were raging in the city, especially for a 16-year-old boy. Cafe Coffee Day had come new in the city, and bowling alleys were a rage. I remember every round of bowling would cost you 100 rupees, and
Yeah.
a good frappe. Back in the days, I think it was about 85 or
80,
125.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can only go to your dad so many times for the pocket money, maybe a few extra trips to mom if they have not communicated to each other. And I was like, dude, I love both coffee and bowling. And I know a little bit of coding. I'm like,
Okay.
why don't I use this to sort of make my own money? So I found this site called ASP Today, where they would pay you to write technical articles. The good old glory days when content marketing had not spammed the internet and people would actually pay you money for writing.
Huh.
So I wrote an article about building charts because of my coding. I'm very embarrassed to see those charts. I'm like, shit, really? People actually like these charts? But that's the start of a good story. Then once it got published, I got my $1,500. That for a 16-year-old is a freaking lot of
Wow,
money.
and back in the day,
$1,500,
$1,500 was
yeah.
good.
That's a
The
lot
first-
of bowling and
That-
frappes, right?
The article got published, and then a bunch of people reached out to me saying, hey, can you make this chart better or do this or do that? And I was very happy. Okay, they'll pay me $100 or £100 or this and that. Then at a point in time, I realized, hey, enough people are asking me this. Why don't I convert to a product? And that was the start of the journey of building Fusion charts.
Wow, as a 16-year-old, your business idea.
Need for pocket money can make you do weird and interesting things in life.
Constraints drive creativity.
Yeah.
I'm only feeding the tinge on this one. Okay, sure.
After you started off and people actually started paying money, right? Like, what was the mindset shift that you had to go through or saw that made it not about, say, just bowling and frappes to, hey, this is actually a problem that people are facing and I probably need to invest time in it?
So when I started Fusion Charts, I remember this is October 2022, and I released the V1. I was still in I just moved out of class 12, was into first year of college. So a couple of things that happened. I applied to BIT Meshra, I got into program there. Then I realized, hey, that's gonna require 100% attendance, which I cannot do. Then I went to this college called Bhawanipur, which did not require attendance in Calcutta. Unfortunately, I was late for the commerce division. So I'm like, okay, what happened? Let's just apply to economics division. Got into economics, studied for a year. And while I was doing that, I realized, okay, it was fun in terms of point of view learning, but I realized that I need more time for the business. So then second year switched to BCom.
My curiosity is, why were you so keen on finishing studying when you were already, like, a lot of people, if they were in your place, they would be like, it's okay, what's the big deal? Why do I even have to study? I already make money.
I think two things. The honest answer is, at a later point in time when I was dating my girlfriend, who's now my wife, I'm like, okay, I need to check both the boxes. The
Yeah.
guy has education and the guy has a business.
Yeah.
But before that, I think See, in the early days, you don't know what it's going to become. Again, because for me, it started as an accidental thing.
Correct.
Like, I didn't have a plan that I'm going to build a company, I'm going to do all of this, expand multiple lines, and so on and so forth. The only thing I was trying to optimize was for how much time can I get for the business, and beyond that, how much time can I get for my parties. Dude, you're 17 and 18. You have to think of that.
Of course.
I love that. I love the honest admission of that.
Another thing that I've observed is when you start out young and you start up a company, you're pretty much doing it on your own, or you're doing it with someone you already know. So I remember that you had a friend who ended up joining you later on, right, Palav?
Right.
So how did you both get along into this journey? How did you like make him see the vision?
Sure. So just a correction there, he did not join me as a co-founder. He joined me as my first member of the team.
I see. Okay.
Right. So my co-founder later was my dad. That will come to probably at a later point in time.
Wow. Okay.
So this was my cousin's friend. I think both of them were studying somewhere in the US. For about 2-3 years, I was doing everything on my own, which is coding, development, website, customer support, sales. And I realized I'm getting less time for my parties. So I need to find somebody who can help me with something, which is on the coding side of it. So I reached out.
The parties. Okay.
Hey, now you know me. That is important part of life. So and see at that point, so this 2005, I was 20 at that point in time. Who take a 20-year-old guy seriously if I go out in the market? So I just reached out to my cousin. Hey, do you know somebody? He said, I have a friend who's just returned to India. He's looking at a stint, and he's a smart guy who can code. I'm like, take a milado. Vision. So what the is vision at that point? Man? Like, dude, we are making a software which people are buying. They're paying us money. You come and join us, we'll pay you money. Very
Money
simple.
is the vision.
Money is the vision at that point. And customer success, customer satisfaction. Both of us worked from our bedroom. We didn't even have an office. For a year, we worked from our bedroom. And I think he stuck around with us for about a year and a half. Probably more than that. I think a year and a half too. And then obviously he had his own aspirations and things beyond that to do. And then later, once the business started growing at a slightly more exponential pace, I realized that there's a lot to be done on the finance side and everything. So my dad used to run another business of his own. I basically went to my dad and said that my growth is faster than yours. Look at the numbers here in exponential. Why don't you come and join this one? And his co-founder was his elder brother.
Okay.
I'm like, Baba can handle it. You come here,
Yeah.
and this will be a good joyride. They're like, okay, simple decision. Let's do it.
Wow.
Yep.
Very few people that would not get offended at that.
No, I think he's very rational, objective, and we all love money.
Of course. Absolutely.
We're a Marwari family, dude, so we cannot not love money.
It's in your blood.
Yep.
In India, there are two camps that make money. There is camp number one that makes money in little chickpet city stores. They make 5, 20, 30 lakhs profit, put it in their Activa, go home every night. Like they don't have any there's no concept of bank transfer. There's none of that. It's just Hawala type of stuff. And then there is another camp that's possibly picking up the best of the best co-working spaces, best office spaces, burning 500 CR.
Sure.
Who is an entrepreneur? Who is a businessman?
There's not a very clear demarcation. Like there's some overlap between an entrepreneur and a businessman. But the starting point of an entrepreneur starts with the innovation. You're either innovating on a new R&D or like a completely new sort of process, product, business model, all of that. And there the goal is, hey, if I innovate this, I can sort of grow fast and this is going to bring some fundamental change in the world or society. A businessman is very clear. From day one, he's like, I need to make profit. Now for an entrepreneur, profit is an eventual motive and which should be a motive.
Okay.
Even an entrepreneur has to be a businessman at some point in time.
Correct.
Now, what has happened is a lot of people who think they're entrepreneurs, they forget that ultimately it has to be a business.
Yeah.
The business of business is not to raise money from VCs and burn it all.
Yeah.
The business of business is to build a sustainable business. The crux of your business is to build a product which allows you to build a business around it.
Eventually.
So an entrepreneur has to be a businessman, and a businessman has to be entrepreneurial in some sense to be able to figure out where there's a market arbitrage to be able to make that profit.
But you see that your businessman, the traditional term of a businessman, is never celebrated and only your startup guys are celebrated. Why is that?
To the point where nowadays people who have started up in their 20s to 30s, they meet in functions. They're like, "Yeah." Parents introduce them as, "ये business करता है." They're like, "No, I have a startup." And
Yeah,
Sure.
and then there is the, oh, I'm not a businessman, I'm a startup.
Sure.
Guy.
So I think from my understanding, damn, by the third one, I'm going to forget the magic word also. Yeah, so I lied about my spice tolerance level clearly.
Clearly, if you could tolerate Kolkata spice, this would not be your situation.
Clearly, I'm out of touch with Calcutta. So the reason, so two things have happened. One is historically, if you look at India, business was a bad word because business was like in the non-liberalized economy. It was a license raj and businessmen were looked down upon. Profits were looked down upon. Even today in sections of society, businessmen are looked down upon. Entrepreneurship started with the startup word and now somehow we have romanticized it too much to the extreme. Obviously, it's a good thing that we are like we are inspiring people to be entrepreneurs and start on their own. But in a spectrum, we have over romanticized it. Business is not bad. We need a mix of both entrepreneurs who create new products and businessmen who take those products to the world and make a profit out of it. And the reason why I think businessmen are hated is because, yes, we, as a community of businessmen, and I'm sort of including myself in this, in the past or probably in pockets right now, we've done a whole lot of unscrupulous practices also. Right from whether it's regulatory capture to tax evasion to sort of not paying dues to vendors and all of that. So that has sort of created this mistrust in a society that all businessmen are bad. And for most people, finding that nuance ki, hey, not all are bad. Like in Bangalore, by default, we say all auto rickshaw wallahs are XYZ, whatever you want to put it. Hey, no, there are a whole bunch of good ones also. But that stereotyping becomes easy for humans to be able to say, hey, all of those are bad.
Palav, would you say valuations equal value?
Eventually, if you create value, you will have a great valuation. But just because of you have a great valuation doesn't mean you have created enough value. So just a fake valuation. So again, the thing to measure is, or let's say from a context of a private company, you only need one person to assign a value. SoftBank or a Tiger can come and say, hey, here's 100 million, we think you're worth 2 billion. It's just one person's opinion, obviously with a big checkbook. That doesn't mean you have created that much value in reality. And that's also sort of a perspective they're assigning to future value that you're going to create. And they're preempting that valuation right now, saying that, oh, in 2 years, we think you'll be 2 billion, but we are giving you $2 billion valuation right now. So that's why we're seeing a lot of correction right now.
After the funding winter kind of kicked in, people started shifting their eyes to bootstrap companies that are successful, and they actually started seeing the value in being bootstrapped. Or what are the trade-offs between staying bootstrapped versus raising funding?
I've been guilty of this in the past. I don't think the axis of comparison should be bootstrap versus funded. The axis of comparison should be what is the right valuation for me and what fuel do I need. Capital is a fuel. It's like if you put rocket fuel in a Maruti 800, if you guys remember Maruti 800, the car is not going to run fast, it's going to explode. Yeah, you might, now for that car, you may put a slightly better, what do we call it, the shell lead free or whatever, this thing for fancy cars that we put in. There it might help you sort of be more efficient. See, bootstrap is a mentality. There are certain businesses which can be bootstrapped, there are certain businesses which cannot be. When we talk about raising funding, we are talking about two things. One, to help you sort of get off the ground. Second is for you to grow and scale. Third, which is where the growth stage companies come, which is to monopolize the market. Like I was actually reading an interview this morning there about Uber versus Lyft. And I think this one Reddit. I forget the name of the person who was a very senior person at Uber. He said the difference between Uber and Lyft was we raised insane amount of capital because we had ambition to dominate the world. Now, in a business like that, capital is a freaking tool. Correct. But they have achieved PMF. They have already been successful in a few countries. Then you use capital to grow. Now, again, the end story might be still undecided. But obviously, Lyft is about 4 billion. Uber is probably 100 billion. I haven't checked. So that's a 25 sort of is to 1 gap. But if you prematurely raise capital just to say, I want to be a freaking unicorn so that I look good to friends and family and all, without actually reaching there, or because somebody is giving me money, you're digging a hole for yourself. Because the last guy who puts in money in a very sort of tactical sense is going to take his pound of flesh, and the pound of flesh is going to come from you.
If I had to start a business today, and let's say I had to start obviously if I want to be cool, I won't sell toothbrushes.
Okay.
But if I want to be if I just want to start a business, I'll probably like sell something that's very widely, like something like a toothbrush, just for an example, toothbrush or buckets or whatever. Vamsi and I keep discussing this. We're like, we should stop everything. We'll put one toothbrush and bucket factory. That's where we'll make all our money. But thing is, it's not glamorous at all. But then if you look at something like a Perfora, they took the toothbrush, they glamorized it, they made it like big deal, and they became a cool startup or whatever. How do you make a decision on whether you want to be a startup or you want to be a business?
Sure. So let's start with the first point you said. If I'm going to start the startup, I'm not going to look cool. You don't start a startup to look cool. That's a
lot of people.
I call those tourist entrepreneurs. This is the zero interest rate philosophy. Money was flowing freely. Everybody, Tom, Dick, and Harry wanted to angel invest. Everybody got an angel investment also. That's a short-term phenomenon. It happens in cycles, and I've seen enough 4 cycles. This is my 4th cycle that I'm seeing right now. But fundamentally, as a founder, you start business, whether it's a business or a startup. See, the difference between a startup and a business is a business has a linear rate of growth. A startup has a J-curve, potential J-curve. That's the only difference. But once the startup has achieved a potential J-curve, it will become a business. So if you go to a Microsoft today, probably they're growing 20-30% year on year on a massive base of 100 billion. They are a business. So a startup has to become a business at some point in time. If you want to look cool, go work for an NGO, go start a hobby project, be an Instagram influencer or TikTok if it's to your liking, or host podcasts.
Okay, wow. A dig.
No, that's on the positive side. Is this a punishment now?
The word tourist entrepreneur is just so apt, right? And you've been through 4 cycles, Palav. This is for both the entrepreneur side and the VC side.
Sure.
How can one be honest with themselves and figure out if they are in this category? And how have you been able to figure out if someone is in this category or showing really promising signs of being in this category?
The single most important question one should ask is, what shit needs to hit the fan where I'm going to give up? Because let's say you're starting a business, you're putting some capital of your own, trading business, things don't work out. What is the shit that needs to hit the fan? Whether it's I run out of capital, I have borrowed money from friends, uske baad bhi kaam nahi kar raha hai, I have done 30 other things. At which point you give up. The moment you're clear about that, that is the pain I'm willing to endure. Gives you a lot of clarity. So most people think about success first. What they should also think about, what is a potential failure? What is a pre-mortem that you can do before actually running the business to be able to say, this is going to be my reality. If shit hits the fan, I may not have a home, I may not have food on the table, or maybe I will not have credibility in the ecosystem, or maybe my dad will tell me, you've already done 2 businesses, third one has also failed. It could be any of those scenarios. What pain are you willing to live with? And that is where you have to sort of backward track and say, if this is the pain I'm willing to live. So like obviously we can talk about the Elon Musk of the world where he was willing, probably didn't have money to pay for rent after selling PayPal. But those are extreme examples. But the reality is, no, we are not Elon Musk. There's only one Elon Musk, there's only one Steve Jobs. Don't copy their playbooks. Take leaves out of their playbooks, pages out of their playbooks. You cannot be who he is, but there are certain learnings you can have. So your comparables have to be somebody similar to you or maybe a step ahead of you.
But that's what delusional optimism is, right?
Delusional optimism is the ability to say, I'm going to solve this problem. But so for example, hypothetically, I'm going to give a very crude example. Can you send a rocket to Mars? No, I cannot. I may be delusionally optimistic that hey, Elon bhi to seek ke padh ke, he has done that. But look at the variables. A, first constraint. What is the talent density around you? B, what is your seed capital to do it? C, what have you built in the past to be able to even go to scientists and say that, hey, come and join me. You start tracking backwards. That being said, there will always be outliers, but what the outliers bring is the survivorship bias. Great to be inspired by. Don't look at them as comparables and say, मैं यही path follow करूँगा.
You've started and exited multiple businesses.
Only 2 of them.
Yeah. 2 is
multiple.
Okay.
And in a very positive note, right? Like the businesses are making money.
Sure.
Have you dealt with failures in these businesses, or have any of your other businesses failed that have actually not been shared till now?
Yeah.
How did you kind of handle that?
Yes, I have had failures in businesses. The only difference is my failures were not sequential. So I ran a slightly different structure. While I was running Fusion Charts, there were multiple parallel businesses I built. The second one which I also sold was a Skunkworks project in Fusion Charts.
Okay.
The second one which I have exited Third one is somewhere in a semi-autonomous mode. There were two others which I had started, three actually others, two other different co-founders that bombed out, co-founder issues. And now in hindsight, I realize why they bombed out, because while I'm running multiple businesses, those folks felt that, hey, you already are getting your money and success and fame and whatnot from that. We are only invested in one and you only give us a limited amount of time. So that was one of the reasons those bombed. So emotionally and financially it did not hurt me because I had the cushion, and also that was one of the reasons why those folks felt that probably it's not the right approach. Another one, that is the one which hurt me the most in terms of future potential value. So this is a business we are building on basically visualization for PowerPoint. In about 8 months, we had 200,000 users, but $500 or $1,000 revenue. And Fusion Charts was a multi-million-dollar business. The idiot that I was, for a lack of vision, because again I did not understand vision, we were like, यार पैसे यहाँ आ रहे, users वहाँ, users के क्या करेंगे? A similar company sold last year for $1.2 billion. And that when I looked at them, then it hurt. Not when shutting down the business. The potential outcome hurt me more than, I mean, obviously this in a light way. But I think here, so I'm not, there are two ways to look at it. Either I've not been ambitious enough to have attempted very big businesses to have that major failures. Or the second way to look at this is I have not had failures because most of the things we're doing, we're thinking very organically and taking baby steps to sort of align with the customers, align with our team, and doing things the, I would want to use the word honest way or right way, without sort of living in a bubble saying कि अरे हम तो ये तोड़ देंगे, ये मचा देंगे. All of this was like ये धंधा ऐसे होता है, कस्टमर को ये चाहिए, नहीं पसंद आया कस्टमर को, प्रोडक्ट ये अच्छा नहीं है. See, what are the reasons for business to fail? There is no need for your product in the market. The problem statement doesn't exist. You haven't delivered a good solution to it, which is mostly a technical thing. Third, you haven't priced it well. Economics अच्छा नहीं है. Fourth, you haven't found enough people to pay for your product. And it could be all of those. So all of those could be learning back for us. So while we have had failures, but nothing has sort of affected me. Also because of the overarching structure that enabled me to sort of run this in a non-sequential way.
Quite cushioned.
Right. All right, let's see where this gets me now. Oh, this one is going to hit bad. I can feel it.
It should have
It's
hit
done.
you
It
by
should have
now.
hit you by now. If it didn't hit
I
you,
think the
then
beer is just cushioning.
yeah, the beer's cushioning. No more cheat codes here. We're never allowing beers on the show.
Okay, it's hitting a little, but yeah, not too bad.
So tell me, people think that the only way to be successful is by hustling very hard.
Sure.
But from what I've heard with you, you're like, nahin, I want my time, and then I will put in whatever other time. Like you have a sense of balance, and you're successful.
Sure.
So would you say that for most people, success comes from working very, very hard and hustling, or are there other ways to make a business successful?
Yeah, so I look at it from a simple lens. You have three things in the world: time, money, and effort. Or let's simplify it to two: time and money. When you don't have money, you have time. You use the time to hustle. When you have money, you say, ki, money say, how can I buy? Then I get my own time back. Then you hustle lesser because you ask other people to hustle. Initial days, everybody has to hustle. But the word hustle itself has been sort of abused too much. What does hustle mean? Let's first define that.
Sab chhod chhad ke be busy 24/7, just work 24/7.
For me, hustle and jugaad is like interchangeable in a way. Like I need to go to an outcome and I need to figure out ways to achieve it no matter what.
Perfect. That's not hustle. That's just smart way of working. Now, is hustle, so which is where like the definition of this hustle, you constantly need to be doing something 24/7. I don't agree. Your definition, hey, I need to achieve this. What's the easiest way for me to achieve that? Now, whether it's easy or hard, but I need to achieve that, and whatever it takes to do that, that's a good hustle for me. And I've done that enough times. But that need to be busy 24/7? No, I don't think so. I'm contemplating. All right, go for it. Oh, sure. Yeah.
So tell us, what are the top 3 markers in year one that you will know that this business is going to fail?
Too much focus on vanity metrics.
For
Where,
instance?
Give us an
like,
example.
let's say if you are selling to businesses and instead of counting revenue, you're saying kitne users use kar rahe hain, most of which would not pay. Or you're saying mere social media likes kitne aa gaye. You're selling to a business, but social media likes should not matter to you then. Second, if you're not constantly in touch with your customers as a founder every single day, you don't know what they're thinking, what they're talking. Third, I think this is more on the fun side. If you spend more time in networking events and going on podcasts as opposed to really you're building your business.
We clearly know who to not do a podcast with again.
Oh shit! Hit me with the sweet spot. This one was brutal. Does this really help?
Yeah, it's milk based, so it should help you.
You picked a good one.
We kept it chill so that it helps you with your tongue.
It is really not helping. Whoa. I need to walk with it.
Ten years later.
Yeah, my second secret trick. Yeah, this helped.
Wow, you went and got yourself a sweet spot.
That really helped.
What is it?
What is that?
Bonomi cold coffee.
That makes a lot of sense.
I have to go to ET Startup Awards after this now. Just one. Guys, can I offer any of you cold coffee?
Thank you.
No?
Please.
Okay.
Do you also want? I'm dying. I need it, but do you want?
Yeah. I'm so dreading to sit back here now.
Last one, Palav,
like
last
the
one.
enthusiasm at the start now with just one piece left. I'm like, oh shit. Alright, let's do it.
In the businesses that you've started, right? How has your mindset shifted from business to business as a founder? Has it helped you accelerate the time to value for the products that you're building? So what have changed? What have remained the same?
One thing which has fundamentally changed in me, earlier I would always think of product first. Hey, acha product banate hai, we'll see what happens. You let it out in the open. And then you're trying to find for the market. Like who are my customers or who are my potential buyers. Now I've shifted the access to what is the market? What problems are there? How many people have this problem? What is the urgency of the problem? Do they have the money to pay for it? And then how do I supposedly reach out to them? And before building the product, I would actually talk to them before even investing a time in actual product development, because that takes time and change is going to be very, very hard. So there's a saying that if I have to build a house, I would rather, or if I have to build art, I would rather spend more time sharpening my axe than actually building something, because I'll have to take it down. And sharpening the axe and thinking more about that is going to be important. In terms of even founders who are starting, and a couple of things. And this more relevant towards engineers who just go and build and then they say, yaar, log khareed nahi rahe. The reason why a lot of products or startups fail is because the market does not have a need for them. You don't need to go and build something. Most people are scared of getting out of the house and talking to random people saying कि भाई आपको ये problem है कि नहीं. Just go and do that, yeah. It takes LinkedIn connects, it takes calls. You have to be shameless. People will say no, but that will also happen later. When you build the product, they will say no anyways. And then you will feel more hurt and you have lost more money. Second thing is everybody wants to build a unicorn. Not every company can be a unicorn. There are businesses which can do $1 million a year and can be profitable. There are businesses which can do $5 million a year, can be profitable. There are businesses which can do 100 million or more, which is a VC or a unicorn business. Know that. Yes, you can. After you build a $1 million business, you know कि I can build adjacent products and do that. But then you have to be aware कि आप किस तरह का business बना रहे हो. If your business itself is going to be $2-3 million and you could have easily taken $1 million home, but you've raised $5 million for that, now you're in a no man's land.
It's actually not bad at all.
I'll get to know. See, the is you don't know when it's going to hit. So the suspense kills you.
Yeah, the last one's damn chill, Palav.
Oh, is that a trick one?
Yeah.
So guys, if you don't like somebody, this is a sauce you need to put in their food.
We've talked about a range of things in the business world. What are your thoughts? What is the one thing that you would leave the viewers with? What is that one advice?
Those who are starting up, I would say, read. There's enough information out there in the world. Pick the right book. pick founder journeys which are relatable. There are founders who have built smaller companies of $2 million, $3 million. They have written books. Those journeys are going to be more relevant to you when you're starting up.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Palav. Sorry for destroying your
Talent temporarily.
No, this was fun actually. Yeah, I think the last one was actually fun. I was so dreading this, and then it's like from a curveball to a softball, like at the end.
It was an ulta Jacob.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching.
See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.